Welcome back to Mogul Cafe.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something that really has the AI world kind of in a bit of a tizzy. OpenAI disbanded its AGI readiness team. It makes you wonder what's really going on over there at OpenAI.
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting move.
So for this deep dive, we're going to try to get to the bottom of this. We're going to take a look at OpenAI's recent moves and try to piece together why they might have made this decision and also like what it could mean for, for the future of AI.
To start with the source here, this all came out from Miles Brundage, who was the head of the AGI readiness team. So yeah, he went to Substack with the post, and then CNBC picked it up.
So first, I was like, what even is artificial general intelligence? I mean, people throw around AGI all the time, but what does it actually mean?
So basically, AGI is like the holy grail of AI research. It's the point where an AI system can perform any intellectual task that a human being can, and probably even better and faster, right? So think like problem solving, learning, decision-making, even things like creativity, you name it.
So like a super smart computer that can do it all.
Yeah, pretty much. But, that's why this whole OpenAI thing is so interesting, because they had a team specifically dedicated to getting ready for AGI, and now that team is gone. So what does that tell us?
What exactly was this AGI readiness team? What were they doing there?
So basically, you can think of them as being kind of like the in-house experts on all things AGI safety and preparedness. So as OpenAI is developing these, increasingly powerful AI systems, this team was kind of tasked with, making sure that OpenAI itself was, ready to handle these tools responsibly.
Okay.
And then also looking at the bigger picture, like, is the world ready for this kind of technology?
Yeah, that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, huge responsibility. And in his statement in his Substack post, Brundage said something really, really striking. He said that neither OpenAI nor any other frontier lab is ready, and the world is also not ready.
It's hard to say for sure, but I think what he's getting at is that we're creating these incredibly powerful systems that have the potential to, do a lot of good,
Right.
but also have the potential to, cause a lot of harm if they're not used properly.
Right.
And so his concern is that we just don't have the safeguards in place yet, the kind of, ethical frameworks or regulatory structures to really ensure that this technology is going to be used for good. Yeah.
He doesn't mince words, but it sounds like he gave some reasons for why he was leaving OpenAI.
Yeah. And it's not just that he left right, it's why he left.
Yeah.
That's what's really like eye-opening. He talks about this high opportunity cost. And by that, he means that he feels like his time and his talents could be better used elsewhere.
Like almost like saying, look, I could stay here, but it's not going to actually solve the big problems.
The second reason was that he expressed a desire for less bias in his research.
Interesting.
He feels like being, kind of embedded within OpenAI, there might be some inherent biases there, and he wants to be able to do his work in a more independent setting. He's thinking big picture.
So it sounds like he's really committed to this idea of, making sure that AI is developed responsibly.
Right. So it's not that he's, abandoning the cause. It's more like he's shifting his focus from being kind of an internal advisor to really trying to influence the broader landscape as how AI is governed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
And then the third reason, and I think this is maybe the most telling one, is that he feels like he's accomplished what he set out to do at OpenAI. So in a sense, he feels like his mission there is complete.
And what about the rest of the AGI readiness team? Are they all following him out the door?
So from what we understand, OpenAI has said that those team members are being reassigned within the company.
Okay.
Now, that could mean a couple of things. On the one hand, it could be a sign that OpenAI is really trying to integrate those ethical and safety considerations into, all of its teams and all of its projects.
Okay.
So it's less about having a dedicated team that's focused on these issues and more about, making it kind of a company-wide culture of responsibility.
Right. So like baking it into the DNA of the company, sort of.
Exactly. But of course, the more cynical interpretation is that this is just a way for OpenAI to quietly de-emphasize those concerns. Maybe they're feeling the pressure to, move faster and ship new products, and maybe they're not as concerned about, the potential downsides as they used to be.
Right. And we've seen this kind of thing happen in other industries as well, where, the initial, idealistic phase kind of gives way to the more pragmatic business-oriented phase.
Exactly.
And so it's definitely something to watch.
Yeah, and I think this whole story really highlights a broader trend that we're seeing in the AI world, which is this growing awareness of the power of this technology and the potential for it to, really reshape our world. And
Yeah.
and I think people are starting to ask some really important questions about, who's in control of this technology?
Mm.
Who gets to decide how it's used?
Right.
What are the ethical implications? And
Mm.
and I think, Brundage's departure is just one example of how these questions are starting to play out.
Okay, so let's try to sum up what we've talked about here, because there's a lot to unpack.
Mm.
We have, OpenAI shaking up its approach to AGI readiness.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of its, key figures stepping down to try to influence the broader AI landscape.
Right.
And all of this is happening against the backdrop of this growing awareness of just how powerful and potentially, dangerous this technology is becoming.
Exactly.
And so the question that I think, we're left with is if the people who are, on the front lines of developing this technology are expressing these concerns,
Right.
shouldn't the rest of us be paying attention?
Yeah, and if it's not a team inside OpenAI keeping them in check, then who is it? And I think, the takeaway for me is that this is not just a technological issue. It's a societal issue. It's a political issue.
Right.
And it's something that we all need to be thinking about and talking about.
So we need to figure out how to manage it,
Yeah.
how to make sure that it's used for good.
And this isn't just about some far-off future with robots, right? This is about what's happening right now. The decisions being made, the algorithms being built, the data being collected. I mean, if the people closest to AGI are saying they have doubts about whether we're ready, shouldn't we be paying attention? Shouldn't that be like a big flashing red light?
But where do we even go from here? Like, where do we fit into all of this?
Yeah.
The people who are going to be affected by this technology. Do we just sit back and watch, or do we demand more transparency from these companies?
Yeah.
It just feels like maybe things are already starting to get out of control.
Yeah, I think this deep dive has really uncovered something important. We've got all these brilliant people working on AGI, but we're still so far behind in figuring out how to actually manage it, how to handle the consequences. And the truth is, the future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's being shaped right now, and we're all a part of that. The real question is, are we ready to actually do something about it?
Yeah.
Are we ready to step up?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Lots to think about.